funky.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on my 1994 Lincoln Mark VIII specifically, and if you know these cars, we are rebuilding the front end. Also replacing the air strut with a brand new one, and I'm going to be replacing the compressor. This thing is going to get a complete front end overhaul. I've had this car since I was 15. I think I've rebuilt the front end on this car twice in the past 4 years since I got it. But basically what I want to do is make this video about the common misconception about how difficult it is to work on these cars. And the plain and simple fact is they're not difficult at all. To take this air strut out takes you about 30 minutes tops. Now, if you're replacing the air strut and not rebuilding the front end like I am, you just simply come over here, take these three 13mm bolts out. Take this bottom bolt out for the lower control arm. Now, it does make it a little bit easier to remove the strut rod, but you really don't have to. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier. Now, you don't want to take these three bolts up there on the top of the air strut off. You just want to get them loose, leave them still on there. Trust me, it'll make things a lot easier. Alright, so another key tip to taking the front end of the Mark VIII apart. When it comes to removing anything on this front end, if you're doing a front end overhaul, don't take anything off. Get everything loose first and then take things apart. I say this because the design of this suspension, if you remove the lower strut or if you remove the lower control arm, well, the whole assembly here becomes loose and moves around. So when you go to take this bolt off, now this whole thing is going to move around, and vice versa. So just take everything, if you're rebuilding the whole front end, which I'm replacing every piece under here, take every bolt loose and then take it apart. It will make things 100 times easier, I promise you. Now this video, I'm not going to show you me actually doing it, because I mean anybody can work on a car. This is just a tip. Another tip, when you remove this bad boy right here, these sway bar links, 9 times out of 10, when you go to take this bolt out, it's going to spin inside of here. So take a very large piece of, or a very large vice grip, clamp it down onto here, and that should make it a lot easier. If that doesn't work, last case scenario, you're going to have to take a cutting wheel and just cut this off. That's what I've had to do most times that I've done this. Now, when it comes to the upper control arm, when you remove this, again, just take this bolt loose. Do not remove it, just take it loose. And then you're going to need an 18mm ratcheting wrench. I promise you that will make your life so much easier. Ratcheting wrenches are honestly just amazing tools I feel everybody should have. But take this, it's an 18mm in specific. You're going to have to get, well, it's under the hood, but to get back there, the bolt, it's a very, very tight squeeze to remove those bolts. It's much easier with a ratcheting wrench because you can just sit there, ratchet wrench, and vice versa. Anyway, so that's just another tip that I have for removing the front end on a Mark VIII. When you're working on this car, like I said, do not remove anything, just get everything loose and then take it apart. It'll make your life so much easier, I promise you. Another tip. These cars are getting to be 30 years old, so these bolts some of them are rusted down. You know, WD-40 will only take you so far. Take your end of the pipe of the jack, removing basically anything. I had to use it to remove this bolt here to the whole thing here, and put it on the end of your wrench here, and that will give you so much more leverage and make things so much easier. I just got super lucky. These came off and gave me no fight at all. 9 times out of 10 I got to take a cutting wheel and just cut this off and knock it out with a hammer. Wow, that pleasantly surprised me. This right here is exactly why I say you need a ratcheting wrench to do this. You have got to get that bolt out right there. Now, you can do it with a regular wrench, but I promise you, you'll be doing it all day. You just take your ratcheting wrench, 18mm in specific, You get it on there. Well, anyway, you get the point. Get it on there, get it on the other side. These are by far, I think I paid $80 for this entire set of metric and regular, whatever, ratcheting wrenches, and this is probably the greatest tool known to man, in my opinion. 9 times out of 10, with one of these, you don't even need normal sockets. Alright, now, so it's going to come to a point when you are removing this bolt right here, this big bolt right here. You can't pull this out without moving this out of the way, and you can't take this out without moving this. So, and I remember when I was first working on this car, it took me hours to figure out, okay, I can't take this out without taking this out, and I can't take that out without taking that out. And it was just a clusterfuck. So the best thing that I have learned is to remove this first. Remove this, and that can move. You can then move this around. You then move this around, and once you move this, you can kind of turn this sideways, and you just take your mallet and you can beat this out of there, and it gives you enough clearance to move it out from this. All right. So then once you have this moved out of the way, you can then remove that bolt. Now, if you're going the method that I go, and you're not taking the brake caliper off, which it might make it a little easier to do, but I just feel like that's an extra step that I don't want to take. You're going to get to a point where you've beaten it to where this little nipple part is flush with this, and you can't pull it out. Well, it's going to hit the back of this brake line, and I found what I did this years ago, and I've been driving the car since, and I've had no issues. I just kind of bent this brake line. As long as it doesn't kink, it'll be perfectly fine. And I just bent it back far enough to where I can push this out. And then what you're going to want to do is you take this boot, you move the boot out of the way, you stick the ratcheting end in like so, hold on to it, and then take your mallet and beat on the end of this right here, and that should punch it right out. Find yourself in a spot where the ratchet doesn't exactly fit in between this and this, and really all it is this boot. So when you go to put the ratchet onto here, it's not going to want to sit on there quite right here. Let me show you. See, it hits up against this, and you can't exactly get in there. All you want to do is, I can't do it with the camera in my hand, but just take your left hand, push up against this boot, push it out of the way, and you can get this on here just fine. Now, I was hoping to show you the install process as well as putting the suspension all back together. However, when taking the air solenoid out of the bag to put the bag on the car, the air solenoid broke off into the bag. Now, I could easily just take a flathead and fish all the pieces out, but when I'm buying a brand new part, I'm expecting it to be in complete working order. And I could have just fished it out with a flat, but who's to say I forget a piece, it leaks, and then it just becomes a headache at that point. So now I'm just waiting for them to send me 2 new bags with 2 perfectly working solenoids. And yeah, I might make a video of the install process, I might not. But anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I hope these tips really helped y'all out if y'all are in the middle of a front end overhaul or thinking about doing it. You'll save a lot of money doing it yourself. I think a shop would have charged me about $700 to do this. So save the $700, do it yourself. Having the proper tools definitely helps you go a long way. Anyways, guys, I hope this video helps somebody out there. And thank y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, share it around. If you have somebody else you know that is about to do one of their the front end on their MN12, FN12 platform car, show them this video. Hopefully it'll help them out a little bit. Thank y'all for watching, and peace out.